Hi everyone and welcome to this new interchange series chapter. In this chapter, we are going to see how to create a Lightning Web Component to create massive records for a Junction object. We have with us the amazing Jorge Ortega. Jorge Ortega hello Jorge. Jorge Ortega is an experienced developer, a Salesforce developers. He's been a Salesforce developer for many years. He's one of the smartest persons I know, and he works in a company called Red K in Sevilla. This is a city from Spain. It's really close to the city where I live in Granada, and we have met each other many times because he's the developer group leader for Sevilla, and we have collaborated many times. So Jorge, do you want to introduce yourself?
Of course, Alba. Thank you. Well, I'm Jorge Ortega, and you can find me at Twitter by Jo Traverso, which is my second last name. As Alba says, I run the developer group of Seville with another mate, and as you can see here, I work as solution architect and technical architect and developer. I cannot quit from developer role. I'm addicted to develop, and I'm in this business since 2001, and working with Salesforce since 2013, and so it's some years working mainly working with Salesforce. Today is a great pleasure to stay here with Alba, and I'm excited to show how can we solve some of the problems we can find at any form or stack change or whatever. So
Thank
can
you,
we start,
Jorge.
Alba?
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you here, and thank you so much for doing this with me. So, if you remember, Interchange is a series in which we take a question that has been asked in a public community and we try to give a solution to it. In this case, the question is this one. Is there a standard way to add junction objects to a parent using the parent's default record edit form? So basically, this is a person who wants to add case recommendations, which is a junction object that matches cases with recommendations. He wants to add records in a way that is more efficient than the standard way. This is, instead of adding the records one by one, he or she, sorry, I don't know who the person is, and is he, so wants to have a screen in which you can add multiple case recommendations at the same time. If we think about the data model for these standard objects, is this one. So we have the case, we have the recommendation, and we have the case recommendation, which is a junction object, an object that has to master detail relationships to the other two objects. Remember that this is the way that we have in Salesforce to create a many-to-many relationship. And by the way, if you are studying for Platform Developer 1 certification, remember to study very well this concept because there are a bunch of questions about it. And with that, I'm going to share the control with Jorge because Jorge is going to continue explaining to you how to give a solution for this question.
Okay, thank you, Alba. Well, here we have the question by Andy, and there is some answers. One for Phil, and one from me. I suggest Andy to create a Lightning Web component to be able to create multiple junction records at one time. So This time I create a GitHub gist with the files for the for yeah, this gist, and for with the files to create the landing web component as well as the Apex part of the component.
I love your picture, Jorge.
Yeah, I'm Vegeta from sign before, I think before 2000. Yeah, I've been using Vegeta in social media. Well, I create this component in a developer org I have, and add the component to the record page of the case. And in this case, I add the component as a new tab in the record page, but you can also add this component as an action. So you can have a button here at the top to launch the component, and you will have the component in a modal pop-up window, and it could be a better way to visualize the form. So
Definitely.
in this case, our solution seems to be working fine, and I hope to write the correct code. Well, if we save, um, this could be the demo effect. Could it be the demo effect?
Live demo
Sure.
effect. This is what happens with
Yeah.
demos.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. It would be the demo effect. Um. Don't know if it has been working. Well, seems that we have to solve some problems and try with the cache.
Caching
Well,
issues are very common in Salesforce, and
some,
especially when you need to demo something. So don't worry at all.
seems that we need
It will
we
be
will
fixed for
need to
sure.
start. We will start with with debugging. It's strange because
Maybe you
it's,
can open the console and see if
yeah.
there's an error message or something.
We got red here, but this red is not expect. Okay, we got the component code here, and let's see what happened if we click on save. Okay, I know. I test this for junctions. Okay, this is not working, so we'll need to fix. Yeah,
We
it's
can fix
showing us
it.
an error. Yeah, we can fix it. Yeah,
Meanwhile, you explain the code.
this is failing because uh, we'll click play again, and then we'll see we got an error, and we got the a wrong error catching here,
Okay.
and it says that I'm missing some fields when creating records,
Oh.
and even it's not showing the error message. So this will be the first thing to correct. Going to the code, I got my VS Code environment here, um, and it's connected to to the sandbox org I'm using. And here I have the, the LWC code with the JavaScript, and we'll see the yeah. I think I fixed the error catching, but I didn't deploy it. So we'll try, and here I have another issue, and I will make this fail and see if my component is rendering right the error message. We'll deploy
Okay.
it.
Can you explain a bit first, Jorge, the structure of the code so that people know what you are doing?
Yeah, sure. It's deployed. Okay. Okay. First of all, we can look at the template code. And I like to start with the landing card because the landing card give me a white background to put my components, my user interface, and I don't have to worry about CSS, and yeah, it's a good starting point. But if you need to, if anyone need to create a custom UI, they are and they are free to to add. Of course, they're free to add the CSS they want. Yeah, I got a save button, but really, it's, actually the save button is the last entry I draw for the component. Uh, but it's the first thing we find when open a completed component. And then I got the I would like to remark the line record edit form, which I mentioned this component at the solution, because using line record edit form, we take advantage from the standard input fields which will react currently to the lookup field, and will give the user the experience of, of of a standard lookup field without mm, coding any query, without we don't need to worry about the UI because it's solved it.
Yeah, so it's really easy to look for the related record by using line record edit form,
Yeah.
right?
Let me show the component again and see and show that the component we are seeing here, we see here, these components, and are these ones. And it shows five lines, five components, because we got this code into inside a template for each.
Okay.
Okay, so when creating a for each template, we need the first child of the template to have a key attribute with a key value, a unique value in the component to let the DOM and the shadow DOM. Don't know. I know you're an expert on this Alba. To let the framework work well with work components.
Yeah, it's a requirement for
Yeah.
for each iteration because of performance, because that way the framework can handle better the elements that are added or removed from the screen on each iteration. Is for that.
Okay. Another important point here is of course the field name, the unchanged, and I will explain the unchanged event later. But we will need will need, yeah. But we like, if you like to get extra info to the component, to get extra info when handling the events, the change event, the click event, or double click event, or whatever event you add to a component, you can add data dash attribute
Okay.
to the component. In this case, I add the data index attribute, and the index part is absolutely I don't know how to say this in English. Random. We
Yeah,
can
it's
put
it,
here
it's
whatever we want.
it's something that you generate randomly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can check. I can say
Because I
index,
guess I guess
IDX, or whatever.
I guess that junctions variable is something that you create in your JavaScript file and that you initialize with the number of values that you want to have or number of rows that you want to have in your component, right?
Right. So for the line record already form, we got here the API name of the custom object. In this case, we need to put here the junction object, and we create a case recommendation object to junction the case and the recommendations.
Perfect.
And we need the user to inform the recommendation lookup field, because we got the component inside the case. So the case will be parameterized, will be passed to the Lightning Web component as a parameter.
Okay.
And now I think we can see the GS code. Okay, as I said, the first thing we will have here is the record ID component, because the record ID parameter, because we want the component to be able to be used inside the record page, or as a quick action for for any record. So we need to add an API parameter called record ID. And
Then the page is going to inform that record ID automatically, right?
yeah, yeah, if you want to add this component as a quick action, you will need to add this record ID. And then we have to define the meta of the component. We need to declare that this component will be available for record page, and we will have a parameter here, the record ID. Okay, this is small and quick. Okay, so going back to the code, we'll start with the connected callback. The connected callback is as you may know, it is the first method, or don't know, the first is one of the methods of the hooks
Yeah,
for the
first we have
lifecycle.
the constructor, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's one of
uh,
the first ones.
is one of the first. I don't use to create constructors. In this case, I use the connected callback to initialize my junctions collection with five records, which five records I want to show five records. If you want to show 10, just change
Yeah,
the five for
those are
10. And
just placeholders.
So just taking account if as much controls and forms you add to the component, more slower the component goes, and it will be heavy. It could be heavy if we add 100 components here. The users have 100 rows to complete. It could be hard to to deal with the kind of forms. So, how I initialize the the collection? I initialize by creating the key attribute with an unique value, and I just need to create this key just as a counter. Just is like the index of the element in the right. I will need to create the case. Uh, we'll create a case underscore underscore c attribute with the record ID value. Which in this way, doing this way, I get my pre-initialized records. I will save later with the case ID lookup field inform before I start to complete the other part of the junction.
Okay.
So when when we load this, and this is the hardest part of the demo.
Let's see if the problem has been solved.
Uh-huh. We can go here and see if my component is showing well the. Okay, I got here my error message. No, sure, you never found anyone so happy to have an error message. Um, well, I this is telling me that I'm missing I'm missing the recommendation field, because I have the case field, the case relation, the case lookup field informed, because I'm initializing my collection element using this line. Okay, so then we can go to the lookup change event. The lookup change event is the code triggered by any change on the lookup fields we are showing on the interface.
Uh-huh.
And going back to the code, the lookup event and the first of prevent default. I don't know if there is any code launching after my code. I stop the propagation of the event, and we'll see if I'm getting a value here in the element. If I have any value here, I will take the index. This is
Okay,
the way I access the data dash attributes I draw here.
okay.
If we want to access to data dash attributes, we can make it this way.
Uh-huh.
Event, current target, and dataset, and my attribute. This is my attribute. If I change my data dash, whatever, I have to write here, whatever. Um, In this way, in this case, I use this key, and I'm using the array index for the key. So the same attribute, the same value I got here, could be used to access the array element on the collection. And I need to capture the lookup record ID I select in the
The
lookup step.
recommendation record ID, right?
The
The
recommendation
selected
that
recommendation. Yeah.
recommendation record ID. Okay.
And how did you get that record ID? What
And
does a current target dot value means?
yeah, this is the value we got, which match with these records I select here. If
Okay.
I will launch the inspector and will stop, close the console, and yeah, it's loading my code here, and we'll stop here. And we'll see what happens when I click, I select a record. If I
Perfect.
select a record, okay, I got the value. So if I got the value, then I will proceed to get these other ones. The index, is 1 because this is the second element of the array. Remember, we start counting at 0.
With 0. Yeah.
And now I think, I'm sure that we will have here a record ID. We go with this and duplicate the tab and put the ID here. Will take us to the page of the record. I think, don't know if this worth it. If this worth this, it take us too long to load this.
No problem. Do you know that?
It seems that streaming is taking part of my connection.
Do you know that what you mentioned, that lists and arrays normally start at position 0, is one of the most difficult concepts for beginners, because sometimes I teach on a coding course for admins, people who don't know anything about development, and this is one of the most difficult concepts for them to understand. And it's true, because developers, we have the mind already accustomed to this, right? But if you start from scratch, it's like, why does it start at 0?
Oh.
Okay, so what happened there? I'm not able to
What
see.
happened?
Maybe you can make it a bit bigger.
Don't know if I can make it this bigger. No.
Okay, no problem, because it's probably that I'm seeing this in a small screen, but at the final video it will be fine.
Yeah. Okay. I got the element. The element I will be changing at this time is this one, which is initialized with the case ID. This ID is the same ID we got here. Okay. And when click next, I will repeat the operation, and okay, variables has gone. Variables has gone because I'm out of the scope of the variables. Sorry, but Well, I think we can have a clear image of the of what is happening, what happens here. Um, then, eh, when we have completed the info of the array elements, we need to save it. We need to save. But we have a problem here with elements missing the recommendation value. This is why I got 5 elements and I just inform one element here. So when handling the save event, I I got it wrong here. The save event. Handling the save event, I need to remove from the I need to remove the empty the incomplete records from the array before send these elements to save.
Okay.
So this is why I'm sending to the save. I didn't mention that, no, no, right? Didn't the save? This is a call to an Apex function, an Apex method, which is our enable, and we can invoke this method from the LWC components. But by
It's a way
now,
to create multiple records at the same time, right?
yeah, this is the Apex part, which make us able to save the data we are handling with the component. We can save this data to the database.
Yeah, because if it was one record, we could use the lining data service, the create record function. But if it is in
Yeah,
multiple data, then you have to use Apex.
yeah. For use the lane and data service, you will need to create I think you need to create a single function or a single record, or maybe you can handle uh, other attributes. This way uh, is is the way I found to make the component reusable, because you want to use Lightning Data Service, everything needs to be fixed on the component, I think.
Okay.
Not sure about that. Maybe I try with the Lightning Data Service one day. Um, uh, I'm saving the complete array of elements. So I need to filter. I need to remove the elements of the array which are not complete. So for doing this, I'm applying a filter on the array and returning for the filter only records that have recommendation informed. So
Okay.
those records with recommendation, this thing, not equal to undefined and not equal to empty string, will be returned for safe.
Okay.
So I will change this, and then instead of send 5 records, I will send only the records the user has filled with data. Going back again, and we need to reload the page, and I will reload again because cache issues. And when clicking this, after the save function, we which is the Apex calls from LWC are treated as promises. So we need to add a then clause and always add a catch clause. Okay, we'll see. This time I will report and we'll see if hey, it's not well loaded. Again, I don't remember if I deployed this. No, I didn't deploy that. I need to deploy. Okay, need to deploy.
We're almost there.
Yeah. And after saving, we'll show the Apex part. Okay, save.
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo. We got this saving, and we see, yeah, we got more records.
Okay,
Okay,
amazing. So let's take a really quick look at the Apex part.
yeah, going back to the code and going to the Apex, we need to import the Apex method here, and going back to the Apex will make this code bigger because is is really simple. And I'm sending the collection records as an string and serializing the elements with JSON in JSON notation. So doing this, I can retrieve, I can rebuild the collection in Apex by using JSON deserialize. So uh, I'm expecting to have a list or recommendation classes, a list of recommendation records. So I need to put here a second parameter, the type. The first parameter is the JSON string, and I got the records. Once I got the records, I just need to insert. That's all. It's really simple, and it's very easy to make this code reusable by adding some tricks here. If I adding, I will give only a hint on here. Save junctions, uh, dynamic, dynamic. Okay, we'll pass in this the object API name,
Okay.
API name. We'll doing this way. I can make this dynamic, dynamic. Sorry, dynamic. Um, I think that is right. No, this list. Hmm. Can't remember now how we make this. How we make this dynamic, but we can create dynamically list of subjects.
Okay, if you don't remember right now, Jorge, what we
Yeah.
can do is to look for it later and add a comment in the video so that people have it.
Okay, we'll do. We'll
Perfect.
do, and we'll add to the keys to the keys code.
Perfect.
We'll add a variant of the Apex method, which make this dynamic.
Okay, perfect. Great. So there we have our solution. Thank you so much, Jorge. It's a very smart
Vale.
solution and you explained it really well. I'm sure that the audience is going to love what you did here. If you want to connect Jorge to ask questions or just to say, hey, Jorge, you rock, thank you for that. There you have his Twitter handle. He's very active on Twitter too. And let me switch to my desktop 1 second because I want to tell you something else before leaving, which is if you want to participate in this interchange series, there is a form that you can fill in to tell us a particular questions that you want to be answered in this series. You can participate or you can suggest someone else to participate. If you have someone in the community that you love and you want that person to be in this series, you can propose that we reach out to that person too. Okay. Just as a reminder, these are the different ways in which you can connect with us. We are in developer.salesforce.com. There you have our blog, our podcast, or our developer centers documentation, and so on. You are going to find all the resources for developers there. We are also on Twitter, Salesforce Developers, Salesforce Devs, really. And we are also in LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, do it now because we are constantly publishing videos like this one. And if you want to receive notifications, you have to click on the bell when you subscribe. That's all for today. Thank you so much for attending this session. Thank you so much, Jorge, for being there. It's been a pleasure being with you. Do you want to say goodbye to the audience?
Bye-bye.
Okay, so bye-bye and see you in the next chapter.